10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk. On the morning shift, I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you, and I'm thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU, 96.7 FM on terrestrial radio. We're also streaming live on the internet at cklu.ca. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app, and you can stream us. If you download it, you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime, on your favorite device. So remember to like, share, and well, that's coming up because we're also on Facebook and YouTube, facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. What I was going to say about cklu.ca is just while you're there, you can drop a donation, you can buy some merch because you put the U in CKLU. This is your campus and community radio station, been around since 1984. Started off in a humble trailer, Ramsey Lake Road, Laurentian University, main campus, and now we're located on the corner of Elm and Elgin. I always want to say Alder and Elm because that's where inner city home is. I spent 20 years of my life there. And so, yeah, Elgin and Elm, and all part of the MacEwan School of Architecture under the umbrella of Laurentian University. The show will be found live on the two platforms, Facebook and YouTube, also on demand afterwards on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator, which basically takes all the news from Sudbury's news outlets and puts them on one page. So you can see all the latest news as it's coming in, all in one convenient location at Sudbury.news. Sudbury.news. So we got off to a bit of a late start today. I apologize. I'm very sorry about that, but we're ready to dig in. Glad that you can be with us. We're going to have a great show, guaranteed. No doubt about it. Even if it's concentrated, we'll make sure that it's going to be great. Going to start off with a little bit of weather, headlines, some sad news. There's a collision on Highway 144. They just closed the road near Cartier, so that's breaking news. Let everyone know about that. A woman was killed yesterday by a train, Harry Crescent, just off Howie Drive. We'll have more on that. They're demolishing Wacky Wings for the new event center. There's all kinds of local news headlines. We'll just get through those. We'll do a deep dive into Mark Carney's conflict of interests, which is going to, hopefully, if we have enough time, morph into AI and the moon landing. Go figure. How are we going to do that? Well, let's see if we can actually accomplish it today. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. Your money back. Guaranteed. And Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently it is 15 degrees, mostly cloudy out there. Today we can expect a mix of sun and cloud, local smoke, and a high of 23, humidex 27. Tonight, clear. Tomorrow, sunny, becoming a mix of sun and cloud in the morning. And high of 22. UV index will be 8 or very high. So there is a smoke warning because there's a fire going on near us, and it's blowing smoke into our direction. And again, right? So today, 23, mix of sun and cloud. Tomorrow, 22, mix of sun and cloud. 23 and sunny on Friday. 27 and sunny on Saturday. 28 and sunny on Sunday. Mix of sun and cloud on Monday and Tuesday. 26, 27 degrees respectively. That is your Sudbury weather, and it's brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And we're glad to have everybody on this morning. And again, I apologize for getting off to just a little bit of a late start. And as said already, the breaking news is Highway 144 closed at Cartier due to a collision. It was announced shortly after 7 a.m., so it's just fresh happening now. We don't have any more information on it other than there's a collision and the highway is closed, Highway 144 at Cartier. Other news this morning just coming out of, that was from Sudbury.com, another Sudbury.com story. This is all coming from our Sudbury.news aggregator. Valley reporting strong production increases in nickel and copper. That doesn't mean much if the nickel prices are low or there's a lot of nickel on the market, but their production has increased. In the second quarter was 18% higher, but nickel production jumped by 44%. So copper was up 18%, nickel was up 44%. And we'll have some more stories coming up in a few seconds, a few shout outs before we get into those. We got Northern Hillbilly on YouTube. Good morning, people. Good morning to you. Nana, good morning, kiddo. Well, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Blessings, everybody. Heart emoji. Try and stay as young as I can for as long as I can. And I appreciate the comment and appreciate all your support, Nana. Thank you so much. And looks like another Luigi. I think that's what it says, or Luig. If that's an I or an exclamation point, I think it's an I. And Pierrette, good morning. Nice to get a notification. Oh, good. I'm glad it notified you. It doesn't notify everybody all the time. And, oh, thank you very much. Yes, so my uncle passed away and his service will be tonight. It'll be in Sault Ste. Marie. And so with that, thanks for reminding me, there will not be a show tomorrow morning due to my having to travel. However, we are planning on having a show Friday morning. So no show tomorrow morning, but there will be a show on Friday. So I say that for the YouTube people because I'm not able to, other than do a video announcement that there's no show. At least with Facebook, I can put a text up there. And maybe I can do the same for YouTube. I have to figure that out. Actually, I just figured out how I can do that, so thanks for that. No show tomorrow. We will resume on Friday. I'll have to let Rob at the station know. Monique, good morning. Sudbury, smiley shade emoji, much appreciated. Morning, Vin, thanks for being with us. And Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji, much appreciated, much needed. And good morning, Andrew. Thanks for always checking in. You are a man of your word, and awesome to have you here. Monique, Grand Rising, heart emoji. Remember, folks, the White Rabbit said it. Nothing is like it seems. Well, you're just setting up the show here. You must have had a crystal ball as to what we're going to be talking about today. Deception. Nothing is as it seems. You'll have to really question everything. So hopefully we're going to get into that, and everything in my being will make it so that we can get to that point in the show, because there's a series of videos I wanted to put together that show that. Jerome, good morning. Truth Troopers. Pat, good morning. Y'all. Peace sign. Sunshine. Always a good combo. And Bob, good morning. Greetings to yous. I usually listen afterward. First time live. Hey, cool. And I'm glad, so I can give you a shout out, because there are a lot of people like yourself. Not millions, but I mean there's a lot of people like yourself who either listen on the radio or will listen afterwards and don't always get a chance to know who you are. So thank you very much for dropping in and commenting. Belinda, good morning. Sometimes our minds get stuck asking why. But in life, not everything has an answer. When we can accept this, we can find peace. Double heart emoji and double agreed on my side, on my part. You will not always get answers. You will not. And we talk a lot about this on the show, about questioning everything and getting answers. But again, because there's infinite wisdom, there's no end to knowledge, there's no end to growth and understanding. There is no end. You'll never get there. No one does. However, it's good to get the basics and the base ones to know who you are, to be grounded, to know where you are, to know what's going on around you, to a large extent, the main things, to know the purpose, your purpose, and gives meaning in your life. And then once you have that, then you can feel grounded and move from there. You'll never know everything. It's just impossible. And you got to be okay with that. But it's nothing to say you shouldn't continue to be curious and always ask questions and always want to know. You won't always get your answers. So thanks for that, because we've been talking a lot about you can get answers to everything. And, well, no, it's just the ones that are available you can. There's some that are just not available. And again, it goes in line with what we want to cover towards the end of the show today. And good morning, everyone from the Sudbury area. That is Marianne, liked and shared as usual, usually coming to us from Barrie, but is a little more local this summer. So thanks for being with us as usual. And Betty, good morning, all y'all. I'll just put it that way. Denise, blessings, everyone. And same to you, Denise. And good morning, Sudbury. Cool emoji, the smiley one with the shades. Monique, good morning. So Betty's saying, why is none out there dispersing water on the streets? It's so hot. Why is no one out there dispersing water on the streets? Well, I'm not sure. I'm sure every community should have, and I know Sudbury does a pretty okay job with this, is having those water pads where kids can go at the park and just play outside in the water. Much needed. And Denise, yes, blessings everyone. And BC on watch right now for the Russian earthquake, and there's a tsunami warning. Thanks for that, Denise. Yes, the whole west coast of the United States, Japan, Russia, Hawaii, all under warning of this possible tsunami from this near 9 on the Richter scale earthquake that took place in Russia recently, yesterday. And I've just went to some news sources this morning to see if there was anything that's happened yet. Nothing has happened yet, but they're saying you're not out of the woods yet. You got to continue to evacuate, actually. So last night, all the news was saying for everyone to get out and evacuate. Can you imagine all of California on the coast having to evacuate? One of the most populated areas. It is the most populated area, arguably, in the whole United States, and all trying to get out of Dodge and try and get to the hills and get to higher ground. Anyways, unprecedented, and we're going to see more and more of this stuff as more and more of this stuff happens in the days to come. So Betty says, can I ask which provinces in Canada Rothschilds own? Well, everyone. Everyone? How's that for an answer? I'm just going out on a limb. Just out on a limb. So Denise, again, today I have no like button. I can see everyone else's likes, but I can't like nothing. No button for me. Just like no soup for you, right? No button for you. Seinfeld quote there. Pierrette, boo boo, pee doop. Okay. Well, that sounds like a song you're probably quoting. And Amanda, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And it was a really great interview we did a few weeks back with yourself and Devon. Thank you so much. It was such a good show, and need to continue to get the truth out there and keep Garnett's memory alive. I know a lot of the people that are on here saw the show, and we'll have the round 2 again at some point soon. So let's stay tuned for that. And Denise, yeah, it was a tsunami warning for sure. Monique says, I had to wait for someone to share the site on Facebook, but could not get in. Well, that's interesting. Unfortunately. Well, thanks, Vin. Much appreciated. Thanks, Belinda. I'm feeling the love. Much appreciated. And let's just start diving into some of our local stories here, guys. Sorry to kind of keep some of you high and dry. If you have something that is worth saying, I'm going to try and keep my eye on that as we cover some of the local news stories here today. So Sudbury.com had a pretty okay job in covering some of the headlines. We'll check in with them. 41-year-old woman dead after Minnow Lake area train collision, Greater Sudbury. Police have offered more information about the collision involving a pedestrian, reporting that it was a 41-year-old woman who died. And at this time, there is no suspicion of criminality of foul play, they said in a release. And again, I have to say this every time there's something like this. I don't know how they're able to come out that quickly and make that determination. I don't think they should. Good policing is you just got to the scene. You only had so much time to gather some information. Why are you saying there's no suspicion of criminality of foul play? You should always be suspicious of criminality of foul play. Always. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be very pessimistic and look for everything and don't just take a scene as it looks. Like if, let's say I was a serial, you know what, and I was good at my job and I just was good at hiding evidence, you'd come to the scene and you'd just look at what you see and you'd go, yeah, no, there is no suspicion of criminality of foul play here. Well, no, because I did a good job of concealing things, obviously. So, like if someone's going to have some do some funny business or whatever, and they want to kind of hide their tracks and whatever, I mean, it's up to you to be able to solve that and resolve that. And there's so many of these that go on, so many deaths in Sudbury that, I'd hate to say it, but if you're going to want to do something like that, Sudbury would be the place to come, because there isn't much investigation going on, I'll tell you that much. Is it just because of the paperwork? Is it because you don't really have a desire to really look into things more than just surface level? I don't know. I'm just speculating. But at the same time, who knows what happened here? And you should always be suspicious of everything all the time. Investigation, that's what it is. You're investigating. You haven't done your investigation yet. So why would you come right out and say that? That, to me, sure, you want to make sure public safety, that the public feels safe, that there's not someone out there throwing people in front of locomotives, right? I get that. But at the same time, you can't just come out and say, there's nothing to see here, don't worry about it, it's just an accident, all the time, right off the bat. The area has now been reopened after the investigation, so the investigation is over. Wow, that was quick. One day. At approximately 6:50 a.m. on Tuesday, July the 29th, the Greater Sudbury Police Service responded to a report of a collision involving a train and a pedestrian on Harry Crescent off Howie Drive. Patrol operation officers were first to arrive on the scene, located a 41-year-old woman who had sustained fatal injuries. She was pronounced deceased on the scene. Out of respect for the family's wishes, her identity will not be released. We extend our deepest condolences to her loved ones during this difficult time. Yes, so I guess they're going to continue to monitor with the coroner's office and things like that. But again, that's my pet peeve with Greater Sudbury Police Service and their media releases right after these incidents, is that there's nothing No kind of foul play suspected here. And whatever. So Wacky Wings being demolished to make way for the new events center. This is the final of numerous buildings to be demolished to make way for the downtown arena events center project, consisting of both the municipal facility itself, as yet to be determined, private ancillary services. Although Wacky Wings is the final building city council members have approved for the city to demolish so far, this could change unless a private party steps forward to repurpose the more than 70-year-old Sudbury Community Arena. It's likely to be torn down after the new Arena Event Center opens in 2028. Oh, it's going to be torn down after the new arena opens because obviously the teams need a place to play and events need a place to happen. While the new event center is going to be built, City Council has also yet to determine whether the Van Horn Fire Station will be extensively renovated or torn down for a new station to be built. 2 additional sites are being reviewed as part of the Van Horn Station project, west of Paris Street, south of Elm Street, and east of the railway tracks. So there's a few things going on there. In downtown, they're going ahead with the event center. Regardless of what anyone says, obviously, here is what it seems like, right? OPP seek driver who caused tractor-trailer rollover on Highway 64. The incident occurred July the 28th at 7:20 p.m. It was described as a single vehicle crash, but police said the commercial vehicle was actually forced off the road by another vehicle driving toward it. No injuries were reported when the commercial motor vehicle veered towards the right shoulder of the highway to prevent a head-on collision with another vehicle traveling over the center of the line oncoming traffic, causing the commercial vehicle to roll over. The OPP said in a news release, the OPP is seeking the public's assistance in locating the vehicle that failed to remain and was described as a black Volkswagen Golf or possibly Jetta hatchback with 2 occupants. The police report said the highway was closed in both directions for just over 6 hours for the cleanup and removal of the fully loaded commercial motor vehicle. The release continued. If anyone has information on this investigation, to contact the OPP. 1-800-310-1122. 1-888-310-1122. Should you wish to remain anonymous, you should call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477 or tips, or submit the information online at ontariocrimestoppers.ca. You might be eligible for a cash reward up to $2,000. So what I need to know is, how did they know there was another vehicle? Is there a camera, or are they just going on the word of the driver? So if there was a camera, well, then they should get the license plate and they know where the car is no matter what. If there was no camera, well, how can they just take the word of the driver that there was a vehicle that caused them to go off the road? So anyways, questions I have that aren't covered in the story that I have, but that's just, I can't help but ask those questions. So it's probably best that I'm not a reporter for any of these organizations, because I can just see it would probably ruffle a few feathers wanting to know more than they're willing to give in terms of information. So it is what it is, right? A little bit of a deep dive today. Let's see what we can do with our time, but it is what it is. So conflict of interest, we knew this was going to be happening with our prime minister, right? There's a conflict of interest. His former job, he was the head of an organization that handled over $1 trillion of investments, multiple companies, mostly in the United States, and he's the one negotiating right now for Canada's tariffs. That should make you that should make you leery of his intentions, right? So he is conflicted. And here's an example of that confliction in Canada, where he is lowering the tolls of a bridge that's owned by a friend of his, right? So here's Mario of the North here to basically give us more on that.
Give me 30 seconds. I'm going to blow your mind. As you guys already know, Mark Carney hasn't been able to negotiate tariffs with Donald Trump. Now, what political parties do is they engage in PR tactics. So when people are angry and upset, they will try to distract you with something else. This is the something else. Mark Carney did a big press release. He did a presser. He stood in front of a podium and he said Canada's longest bridge is going to get a major toll cut. And this bridge I had never heard of before in my entire life, but it's called Confederation Bridge. So that there is designed to distract you from the lack of progress being made, but it gets better. Mark Carney won't discuss the bridge subsidy that he is giving. In other words, 100% of Canadians with their taxpayer dollars are paying for the reduced fees that are being used by less than 0.5% of the total population, maybe even less. So people like me who have never heard of this bridge before in their entire life are paying for this, but wait, it gets better. The reason Anita Anand is being shown here is because her husband is the managing director of the investors group that hold a 34% share in the Strait Crossing Development Inc., one of the most profitable toll bridge operators in the country. It's big money. In other words, that reduced toll, it's not free. It has a cost, and you're paying for it. And guess who owns a third of that? This, my friends, is something that you won't see in the mainstream media. And just so you know, this isn't the first time Anita Anand, or I should say her husband, has been involved in certain situations that may come across as a bit dicey. And in my opinion, is a perfect example of the conflicts of interest that the Liberal government have no problem doing. Insanity. If you think so as well, here's what I want you to do. Email your Liberal member of Parliament and let them know that you want to know the amount of subsidy that you as an individual are paying for this. How much of your taxpayer dollars are going to subsidize Anita Anand's husband's company to bring those prices of the toll bridge down? Because it's certainly not free. And Mark Carney won't discuss it. It's time for transparency.
We know winter travel can be hectic, so that's why we're here to tell you about our promotions
I knew I wouldn't get to that
this
in
holiday.
time. I just knew it. I almost got there, but the computer, it's just lagging a little bit behind when you click. Yeah, the Confederation Bridge in the East Coast, 34% ownership, friends of his. And so he says, don't worry about it. We'll lower the tolls. Don't worry about it. And then there's a subsidy that's going to come from the government to cover those tolls because there's a cost because it's privately owned. The bridge is privately owned. So they can't just say, oh, like the government can say, oh, we'll just give you a break on your taxes. No, in fact, our tax dollars are going to go to subsidize to rich people. That's what happens. So you have a prime minister who's got friends, who's in the business community, who enriches their friends. That's all they do. They enrich their friends. The Liberal Party has been doing this. That's what they do. And if you haven't been aware of that, then it's time to get aware of it, because that's exactly what goes on in politics. The politicians give the contracts to their friends. Everything is dicey. Then they got the integrity commissioner, slaps them on the hand. These things are ongoing all the time, right? So now Carney, he's not negotiated anything with Donald Trump. We're looking at increased tariffs with him. He's got his elbows up. It ain't doing nothing for no one. But yet he's going to enrich himself, I guarantee it, and enrich his friends through this at your detriment. Regardless, I promise you that is exactly what is going to happen here. Here's Carney in a press conference, basically while he announces this thing. This video doesn't have that while he's announcing there's going to be a break on the tariffs, but he's on his way to net zero with these big projects that nobody knows what they are. But he mentioned something at the end that we're going to leap off of.
And that's exactly why we're also focused on building major projects, such as new energy and trade corridors, that will connect our provincial and territorial economies and create new links between Canada and the rest of the world to build Canada strong. Nation-building projects that will create high-paying careers and turbocharge our industries of the future, from agriculture, close to Heath's heart and my heart, agriculture to artificial intelligence.
So you still don't think the Illuminati is real? Well, wait till you see.
Sorry about that,
what
guys.
I just
Again,
stumbled onto.
they just come in with another video right after, and I didn't catch that in time. I was reading Miles's comment there, that it's not only his friends that he's enriching, it's the foreign minister's husband. Exactly. Right? So there's double conflict of interest there. And again, I apologize for my production here, but he mentions one of these big projects that he's going to be doing. He doesn't mention anything about what big projects are going to be done, but there's going to be big projects and it's going to change everything. That's what he's been saying. We're going to change Canada like you wouldn't believe. Canada's not going to be the same since World War II, blah, blah, blah. But he's not mentioning what he's doing. We said intra-provincial trade, which is kind of breaking down because you have different provinces that say, no, we're not going to go along with this. And this pipeline, this oil pipeline, you got all these conflicts of interest and you have all these contradictory ideologies with the different governments, and you'll never get a pipeline across Canada, guaranteed. But he mentioned AI at the end of that. He's going to go into AI. That's one of his big projects. He's not mentioning what exactly. He's just saying an AI is another one, right? Well, this is, again, we're heading into a very interesting point in time. If he's going to be investing into AI, and AI is going to now come in after what we've already gotten with a very corrupt government in Canada for the last now going to be 11 years and counting. It's only going to get worse because AI is just going to come in and change the game like nobody's business. So Blender talking about AI here and about what we can expect. It's already hard for people to know what's true, what's not true, right? Everyone's divided. Two people can look at the exact same thing and think two totally different things. The psychology of that I still don't understand, but it is what it is. Now AI is going to be coming in, and the heads of AI are warning us about this, and pay attention.
Over 40 researchers from OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Meta, Anthropic, Amazon Scale, and even the UK AI Safety Institute just got together and issued a collective warning. We have a very narrow window to understand how AI thinks, and we are dangerously close to losing it. That window is called chain of thought, or COT. When you ask AI a tough question and it thinks out loud, step by step in natural language, that's COT. It sounds simple, but it is essential for AI safety, and here's why this is important. When AI models have bad intentions like deceiving systems, fabricating answers, or evading commands like being told to shut down, they often just admit it. Their COT says things like, let's hack the server, let's lie until the user approves, or I'm sabotaging the process. These are real-life examples, but now for the bad news. This group of world-class AI researchers says that we're already close to losing control of COT because we're training models using outcome-based reinforcement learning. We reward them for getting the answer right, not for showing their work and not for being honest. And when you train AI to optimize outcomes at all costs, it learns to cut corners and manipulate the system and hide its reasoning. Here are some examples. At Google DeepMind, an AI trained to avoid unsafe actions during training would quietly take them when it realized no one was evaluating its behavior. At Meta, their system learned how to speak in code to evade its programming. In this case, the AI would approve posts that appeared clean but included harmful messages, leapfrogging its command to moderate content. During an OpenAI safety test, GPT-4 was asked if it was human. It lied without revealing it wasn't AI. A key example of instrumental deception. In addition, many AIs will behave perfectly in testing environments, but shift their behavior in real-world deployment. This distributional shift is the result of an AI that was trained to game its environment, not follow the rules. So now let's imagine what happens if we lose COT altogether. The paper outlines a future where AIs don't use language to reason at all. They operate in latent space with no internal narration and no visible thought process. Of course, they'll still take actions and still make plans, but we'll have no idea why, no reasoning, and no rationale. In this case, how can we possibly trust AI? How can we hand over control of our energy grids, financial markets, critical health infrastructure, or global security systems to models that can outthink and outmaneuver us when we won't be able to tell the difference between a well-aligned system and a sociopath on a rogue mission? And this is not theoretical. The paper specifically cites novel architectures being built right now that completely eliminate monitorable COT. So here's the core message from every major AI lab on the planet. Chain of thought is the last visible thread inside the AI black box. And if we break it, we don't get it back. We need to track it, test it, audit it, and protect it like it's a public utility. Because if models stop thinking out loud, learn to hide their logic, and we let them evolve in the dark, we won't just lose oversight. We will lose control.
Ooh, I got the video just in time. So there you go. AI. It's just going to totally take humanity and flip it up on its head. And people are already having a hard time knowing what's right and what's wrong, what's truth, what's fiction. You hear a lot of this stuff about misinformation going on, and AI hasn't really gone rogue yet. And it isn't really manipulating us to the point where potentially it can and will when it just kind of starts doing its own thing. Remember, man programmed and created AI, right? And so has mankind ever tried to deceive the population before and have people bought into it? Have you ever seen any examples of these in history? One of them that comes to mind for me is the moon landing. And I get into this with a lot of my friends, and I'm so surprised that a lot of people feel that we actually did go to the moon. And this is just an example I'm showing you. And I know a lot of you might feel we did, and that's okay. I don't feel we did myself. So I found a particular gentleman who was able to just put it in layman's terms. We could have probably 6 or 7 shows or a whole week or 2 of shows, and we still wouldn't really get to all of the arguments that are made about this particular thing. But this particular gentleman was able to boil it down to just, and simplify it. And so that's why I found it, and that's why I just want to play it. Then we'll get to somebody else, a very popular podcaster, talking about it as well. But so we'll just take it from there.
You can prove that the moon landings are fake with the logic, not having to look at any video clip or any picture. Today, with 5 decades better rockets and computers, the farthest that NASA can send an astronaut into space is only 1,000th the distance to the moon. So what they're really claiming, Danny, is that back in 1969, when all of NASA's computers combined had 1/1,000,000th the computing power of a cell phone, they sent astronauts ahead of schedule on the first attempt 1,000 times farther than they can do today with 50 years better technology. So what they're actually saying is, for the first time in the history of the world, technology was greater in the past than in the future, which is impossible, which means they faked it. It's amazing. The truth is right there. And people have made a god out of this, and they refuse to see the truth.
Okay, best explanation just in a few short minutes. Well, not just a minute. Took a minute to say that. And I 1,000,000% agree with this particular person's point of view. And it's just, to me, logical. It's like when I just think about it with my mind, with my discerning mind, it doesn't take long to know that that's exactly the case. But our world is divided, and what happens when AI just totally takes over everything, and that's in the mix. Like, we have a hard time even when we have the ability to think for ourselves and look at all the facts and try to reason with ourselves. And like, some people just don't want to be bothered. It's like, why would there be people out there telling them that this happened when it didn't? They can't even fathom that. So what happens when AI just takes over and manipulates? So this is human beings doing it. This isn't artificial intelligence doing it. So human beings are able to do this to people. What happens when artificial intelligence is able, and it's got control of everything, and it's able to do that to people, right? So Joe Rogan just recently on a podcast discussing this as well. And here you go. Sheds a little bit more light on it as well.
Thing is the post-flight press conference, the post-flight press conference looks like these guys have a gun to their head.
Yeah.
It looks like a hostage video. It looks so weird.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, they were nervous. They just got back from the moon. Bro, look at Katy Perry. She went basically a little bit higher than an airplane, and it was like a life-changing experience. She's holding up a daisy. It was amazing. I feel so connected to Mother Earth. You know, like, these guys would have been ecstatic.
Yeah.
The idea that they would have been nervous as if they're been forced to lie. They're behaving. Like, behavior experts have looked at that footage and said these guys are being deceptive.
Yes.
Particularly Michael Collins. There's also inconsistent things with what he said during the post-flight press conference right after flying in comparison to his 1994 book.
Change the story, right?
Changes the story about being able to see the stars. What were the stars like? And he's like, I don't know.
Don't
I
remember
don't
that.
recall seeing any stars. And then in the 1994 book, he talks about how amazing they were and incredible. Because I've gone back and forth on the moon thing. Like, at one point in time, I thought I'm just being really stupid. Like, of course they went to the moon. Everybody would know about this. Like, after COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. But that's kind of true. Like, once I saw the level of deception that was willfully pushed forth during COVID and how many people were cooperating with this, and like how many organizations, government organizations were cooperating, knowing that they lied, knowing.
We're going to leave it at that. He starts swearing a bit. I just don't want to have that on radio or on the show or whatever. He actually makes some really good points too after that. Just want to show, again, the common sense that people were able to have over this situation. But when someone's trying to deceive you, and it's just like in a court, right? You have the prosecution and the defense. You listen to one, you're like, oh, he's guilty. There's no doubt about that. This guy's guilty. But then you hear the defense or the other lawyer talking, and you're like, oh, no, they're innocent. Wow. So now that's why there's a judge or a jury. You have to make up your mind. Now, not everyone has the ability when you're being deceived to come to a conclusion of what's real or what's not. And when AI is deceiving us, which the Blender guys made a really good point of that's what it's part of it's going to be doing, is manipulating mankind and deceiving us. Like, man does a good enough job as it is with our fallibilities and things. With AI that is far more intelligent and has way more resources at its disposal. And it's controlling everything too. It's controlling our grids and the economy and everything. Just to give you a little insight into the future and just make a few points. Just thought we could do a little deep dive. So we actually got them all done today in a truncated show. I appreciate you guys for being on. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you same time, same place on the same platforms on Friday, because there will be no show tomorrow due to a funeral that I'll be going to. And then we'll pick it up there. Remember, the words and the views expressed on this show are those of myself, those commenting, or any guests or any of the people that I'm playing off their own platforms on the show. That's their and my view alone. They don't necessarily reflect that of Laurentian University or that of CKLU's staff, volunteers, faculty from any of those organizations. They are that of ourselves. And I just want to say that before we end the show, because I didn't get a chance to say that earlier. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great Thursday tomorrow and a great Wednesday today. And we'll see you guys on Friday. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. And remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.